People rarely fall for emotionally unavailable individuals wanting pain. Instead, something in that distance feels strangely familiar and compelling. Initially, unavailability isn't rejection. It appears as mystery, independence, or depth, inviting curiosity more than caution. The mind fills gaps with imagination. Where clarity is missing, desire often grows stronger, not weaker, over time. Between absence and attention, attachment forms, not through consistency, but uncertainty, keeping hope quietly alive. One main reason this pattern happens: human attraction isn't always based on health, but what is emotionally familiar. Many unconsciously recreate emotional dynamics from earlier life, especially in inconsistent or unpredictable relationships. If love came with distance, silence, or unpredictability, the nervous system associates love with effort and pursuit. So emotional unavailability feels less like a warning and more like a recognizable emotional pattern to chase. Emotionally unavailable people create intermittent reinforcement. Attention is given unpredictably, then withdrawn without explanation. This inconsistency is more addictive than steady affection. The brain focuses on reward moments, not the overall pattern. A small message, brief warmth, or unexpected attention amplifies emotionally, breaking long periods of absence. Over time, the mind chases rare moments, believing consistency is one breakthrough away with increased effort. Another reason, the illusion of earning love through persistence, patience, or emotional endurance over time. Many quietly believe if they become better, more understanding, or available, the other person will change. This creates a psychological trap. Love becomes conditional on effort, not mutual presence, clarity, or availability. The unavailable person becomes a challenge. Winning their affection feels like proof of personal worth or significance. Unavailability triggers deeper emotional insecurity, especially for those struggling with self-worth or abandonment fears. Inconsistent affection creates anxiety, often mistaken for strong love or intense emotional connection. The nervous system confuses intensity with intimacy. Intensity often roots in uncertainty, not genuine closeness. The relationship feels powerful, not due to stability, but because it activates longing and fear of loss. Emotionally unavailable people can appear more desirable, seeming independent, self-contained, or hard to access. This perceived distance is interpreted as strength, maturity, or depth, compared to openly available individuals. The mind romanticizes what's difficult to obtain, assuming emotional difficulty reflects higher value or complexity. In reality, availability isn't weakness. It's emotional capacity to engage in mutual connection and vulnerability. Another layer is fantasy, where imagination fills emotional gaps left by lack of real connection or clarity. When someone isn't fully present, there's space for projection, constructing an idealized version of them. This imagined version can be more compelling than reality, making it harder to accept actual emotional limitations. Many confuse emotional scarcity with value, believing if something is hard to get, it must be worth more. This belief is reinforced by life experiences where effort often leads to reward, creating an assumption love follows the same rule. But emotional connection doesn't behave like a problem to be solved or a reward to be unlocked by persistence. When this misunderstanding persists, people may stay attached long after emotional reciprocity is absent. Emotionally unavailable individuals can also activate a deep fear of abandonment, making the pursuit feel urgent. When attention is inconsistent, the nervous system stays in a heightened state of alert, scanning for connection or withdrawal. This creates emotional dependency, not because of love, but instability in how affection is given and taken away. Over time, the relationship becomes less about connection and more about managing emotional highs and lows. Emotional unavailability often mirrors internal emotional distance within the person who is attached. People who struggle to accept love or vulnerability may unconsciously choose partners who cannot fully meet them. This creates emotional symmetry, where neither person is fully open, but both remain engaged in pursuit and distance. The relationship becomes a reflection of internal emotional patterns rather than a purely external romantic connection. There is psychological comfort in familiarity, even when rooted in emotional frustration or unmet needs. The mind often prefers predictable emotional patterns over unfamiliar stability, even if those patterns involve pain. Breaking away requires not just awareness, but emotional retraining of what love is supposed to feel like. Over time, attachment to emotionally unavailable people often strengthens not because the relationship improves, but because investment increases. The more time, emotion, and hope someone invests, the harder it becomes to detach without feeling something is lost. Leaving means confronting the weight of emotional investment. Growth begins when effort alone cannot replace mutual presence. Eventually, clarity comes when emotional exhaustion outweighs hope, and inconsistency becomes impossible to rationalize. At that point, many understand love isn't meant to be a constant state of guessing, waiting, or proving worth. Real connection doesn't require chasing, decoding, or surviving emotional absence to prove its authenticity. It becomes clear that emotional availability is not something to earn, but something that must already exist for love to be sustainable. The deeper lesson: people aren't foolish, but emotional systems are highly responsive to uncertainty. What feels like love is often a mixture of attachment, anticipation, hope, and emotional activation created by inconsistency. Understanding this changes how it's interpreted and how future connections are chosen consciously. In the end, people stop mistaking emotional unpredictability for depth and start recognizing stability as the foundation of real connection.